My name is Hamdi Hassan.
Hi, nice to meet you. And I have a few questions that I was going to ask you.
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is, what country are you or your family members originally from?
I'm from Somalia.
Somalia? What part?
Mogadishu.
Mogadishu? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the capital.
It's a capital? Oh, okay. So why did you or your family members leave the country?
Because of war.
Was it bad during that time?
Yes, it was really bad because it was back in 1991 when we took off from the country, and I was really young at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we took off from the country and traveled to Kenya,
Oh.
and we ended up being in a refugee camp.
Oh, okay. So you just said the condition. Who came with you when you migrated, and who did you leave behind?
I came with my little sister. So it was my little sister and I and my aunt.
Mm-hmm.
I left my mom and the rest of my family members back in Kenya.
Oh, so they didn't came over with you?
No.
They didn't?
They came right after 5 months when we arrived.
Oh, okay. So what changes in lifestyle did you make when you came here? So like based from your tradition, and you had to change from that.
For me, I would say it was really easy for me because I was really young when I came to this country, and it was not that hard for me to adapt to culture
Yeah.
and like how things were going. But it was pretty. I started with. I'm from Minnesota originally. That's what we settled when I first came. And in Minnesota, they have the largest Somali populations up there. So most of their schools, and we have a lot of Somali communities everywhere. So it was not that hard for me
Okay.
to adapt.
So what was your first impression of the United States? Has this initially impression changed over time?
My first impression when we first came, first I was happy that I came to U.S. because I was dreaming to come to U.S. And the reason why I had all those dreams is because I wanted to be educated, to go to school, because schools in Kenya, it's money.
Mm-hmm.
And we were not able to afford it because my mom had 10 kids.
Oh.
So yeah, it was really good and good opportunity for us to be here. And number one reason is to go to schooling and to get a better education. It was exactly what I was expected to be, to have a better education, free health. There's a lot of things we didn't have opportunities for when we was in Africa, like the education and health, and those are the major things in life, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, those two things were number one key for me, to find a free education and free health.
It's a different
And
change from
almost
your
free
country.
housing. Yeah, so it was totally different and better place for us to be.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get a lot of questions about why do I wear a scarf, why am I different? I mean, what is my home language? So somehow I was proud to share that because I was different than the others. So to me, I would say I was acknowledging them about my culture and what we believe about this. So we used to do comparison like in the classrooms, like what is your culture like, what do you believe in this, or how do you guys do this, like a lot of questions like that. So I was really impressed to share my culture. I have seen some change their cultures, some Somali students, and they were trying to fit in the other culture. They were totally like not cover themselves like we're supposed to culturally or religiously. They decided to wear pants and let their hair go and like to look like the other other students in the class or in the school. Yeah, I have seen some of that, and I used to have friends who did that. So they used to change when they're going home. They were going back to their
Oh, so they hide it from
clothing.
their
Yeah,
parents.
so their hair. Yeah, of course they hide it from their parents because their parents would not allow them to take the scarf off or the long dress and all that. But what they used to do is they used to carry the other outfit in their backpack. So when they go to the school, they go to the bathroom and change themselves to fit in the other cultures. Now that we're growing, the population that's growing, we do have some traditional, like we do have some restaurants, Somali restaurants,
Oh,
and
I've seen
Somali
some.
malls, and So now we feel like this is home. Like we have everything we had back there. Like the businesses are growing, so this you will find anything that was back in your country here. Almost everything.
Almost
I would
everything.
say yes. Like the clothing, the cultural holidays, celebration things, like the food we were eating, and the henna that we've been putting on for Trinidad for holidays, special holidays. So we're still doing everything here.
Okay.
I would teach my children my home native language because I want them to learn their native language. I know they're going to be more Americanized and more Americans because that's going to be the third generation, I would say. So, yes, I would like them to learn the Somali so that way they can understand their great-great-parents, and in case they ever go back to their country, then they will know that they will not be lost and say what's going on.
Yeah. So with your children, how would you feel whenever they wanted to marry outside your ethnic group or culture? Would you be okay with that?
As long as they're Muslim, would not care what
as long as
they're
married.
Muslim? Yeah, but the religion, it's really important that they marry a Muslim person, yes.
So you don't care about
But
race?
I don't care if it's white or Chinese or Asian, or I would not care. That's
as long as they're
choice.
Muslim.
As long as they're Muslim. I heard people complaining about racism, like, okay, these people are racist, and what I think personally is not people being racist, it's just that they just don't know the culture and who Somalis are. 'Cause we have a lot of different, like culture-wise, Somalis has some, we have, I can't say crazy culture, but it's very different than the American culture, way different. So somebody that does not know Somali or their background, or it will have a hard time to understand them or to adapt the cultures. So the very first families that came here, it was harder than the ones that's coming right now, because now they have communities. Every race or every country has a community here now and then we usually reunite the families to their communities. Like if they live in North Grand, then we settle them in North Grand so that way they can get help from the community.
Would you go back to your own country?
I would love to, because I don't remember much about my country right now. So I don't really trust it to go back there, but I would love to go back and see it. But yeah, I grew up in Kenya. I didn't grow up in Somalia. So we spend our time in refugee camps. In Somalia, I don't remember much about my country, but I would love to go back and see it one day.
What were the camps like? Was it unpleasant? Was it all right?
The camps were all right, but it's not as much as a city. Like we used to go back and forth to the city and the camp. So the good thing about the camp is that you're not gonna have to pay a rent or any utilities for anything. It's free, everything. I mean, you will live in this little house that people usually build from concrete and bamboos and all that. So food was free, and the only thing you have to buy is the little grocery, like the tomatoes and onions and all that. But you would get the flour and the rice and all the major food from the USCIS, the UN that's there. So in Kenya, life is expensive if you don't have any support or anybody that's giving you any money, because you leasing the apartments, school is money, like there's nothing free up there. But in the refugee camps, you're a refugee, you don't have anything. So I dropped out of school in first grade in Kenya. So I went to elementary and then first school, and then we dropped out because my mom could not afford it, pay for all those kids. So we moved to the camp. Yeah. Yes, and she was a single mother, so I was raised by a single mother. Yeah, it was only mom that was taking care of 10 kids. My name means thank you, God. And my mom gave a birth for 5 boys before me. So she was praying to have a girl. But she was pregnant with me. And there was no sauna or anything that you will find out what you carry like here. When they had that technology in Somalia. So she used to pray to have a girl. So when she had me, there was no questions. She said, I will name her Hamdi because thank you, God, for giving me a daughter.